Well, we're here to talk a little bit about the absorbed stent today, which has given us quite a bit of excitement in the field of interventional cardiology. But that excitement is not without controversy, and certainly when you look in social media and other reports, there are many people who feel that this is not that big a deal, and in fact, the hype is outweighing the data. So I'm here to give you some of my opinions on it. I think first, I am excited because for an interventional cardiologist, anytime there's a new type of breakthrough technology, it's exciting to at least be able to evaluate it, to study it, and then to determine whether it can help our patients. Some of the potential advantages would be you can restore normal vasomotion to the artery. You could in fact put it over a bifurcation. So while we normally would jail those bifurcations with a durable stent or a metallic stent, stent would go away over time, and so that wouldn't be as much of an issue. For instance, if you needed to bypass a vessel that had a stent in it, that stent would be gone, and so there would be no issues there. But as I said, these are theoretical advantages at present, and the detractors of the stent have basically said, well, we haven't seen any of this. And in fact, if you look at the current data with the stent, notably the pivotal trial Absorb-3, even other meta-analyses of data, this stent does not look like it's superior to the current best-in-class products that we have. So that poses some concern, and there have been a lot of criticism levied saying that if this stent isn't any better than what we have, if it is harder to put in than the current stents we have, which is also true, if it's thicker strutted, meaning it occupies more space in the vessel wall than the traditional stents that we have, which could lead to potentially more stent thrombosis, which has been seen in some of the studies, then why should we even use this stent? And I think that the important findings that I sort of have on this, or the important opinion that I have on this, is really twofold. The first is that we're not just having this stent be approved and not studying it further. There are two large studies with late follow-up, which will have up to 5,000 patients of follow-up to look at the late effects to see if some of those promises could actually be realized. That's Absorb-3 late follow-up and also Absorb-4. And I think for patients, we often get folks who sort of ask us, do I need to have the stent in permanently? I'll close by sharing just a simple anecdote of, in fact, one of my uncles who was in India 3 years ago before the stent was approved here and had coronary disease and was offered this stent. I, when hearing this, said to him over the phone, I said, this stent's not approved for this. It's never been studied in this way. There's no overlapping stents in any of these trials. I don't think you should have it. I think you ought to have the stents that are approved and tried and true. He's an engineer, and he had read about it, and he said, but I just like this concept. And if you think that we can do it safely, I want to do it. And I said, I don't know if we can do it safely. We don't have that data at present. I, in fact, emailed the chief medical officer of Abbott. I spoke to some of the people, Greg Stone, who's led the trial with Absorb here. We all told him he ought to get the tried and true durable metallic stent. He didn't go for it. He wanted the Absorb stent. He took the risk, which at the time was certainly a risk, and he's had a great outcome as a result of it. Now, I don't know if his artery has normal vasomotion now. I don't know exactly what's going on. I don't think we ought to cath him because he feels fine. But I think there is some intuitive appeal to this, and this is a technology that moves the field forward. So as long as we can use it with some degree of circumspect nature, as long as we understand the data, we explain that to our patients, I think ultimately this is going to be a shared decision that's made between us and our patients, and that's ultimately the way to affect the best outcomes.